Hi, I'm Russell Lowenthal, Product Manager for Database Security here at Oracle, and I'd like to talk to you today about how DataSafe handles audit data lifecycle management. We need lifecycle management to ensure that we retain audit data for the period of time that you're likely to need it, and that during that lifetime of the audit data, we store the audit data in the appropriate place so that it can be used as needed. DataSafe offers two types of storage for audit data. There is online data, and this is the data that is available for analysis and alerting and reporting. You will always have at least 1 month of online data. And then there is archive data. This is data that has aged out of online storage and is being placed somewhere else. In this case, somewhere else is in the Oracle Cloud Object Storage. Data that is an archive can't be analyzed or reported until you bring it back into online storage. Now, for online and archive, you are going to set up a retention policy. Almost everybody's organization has some policy on how long they should keep audit data for. Your policy may just be something that your organization has set up because you've determined its best practices, or you may be governed by external regulations. There is no one set period for retention that fits everybody. And so within DataSafe, we try to give you the flexibility to select an audit policy that meets your needs. Let's take a look at how we set our retention policy. So here I've logged into DataSafe, and the very first thing I'm going to do is I'll go up to Settings. And once I get to Settings, I will click on the screen Audit Data Retention Settings. Here I'll see that I have a choice. I can set a default retention period. This is for all databases that are registered with DataSafe, and I have a certain number of months for online and a certain number of months for offline. My online, I can be between 1 and 12 months. My archive or offline, I can be between 0, no archive at all, and up to 6 years, 72 months. In this case, I've chosen 6 months online, 54 months offline for a total of 60 months. I can override this for any individual database. For example, for this DBSec Lab PDB1R, I have decided that I need 2 months of online data and 3 years of archive data. Let's go back, take a quick look at how we got here again. We went to Settings, and then we chose the Audit Data Retention Settings, where we were able to set our default settings for all databases and then override as needed. Once we've got this going, we now have to think about what happens if we change our settings. So I'm going to go back to this DBSec Lab PDB1R again, and suppose that I were to change my offline from 36 months to 48 months. What would happen is now, as data continued to age out of online storage, it would be transferred to the archives, and we would continue to transfer to the archives until the archives contained a full 48 months of data. Once that data was older than 48 months, we would begin to automatically remove it as data ages out. Let's go back to where we started. We have 2 months and 36 months set as our archive period. Suppose instead I change my retention period, my archive period, to 24 months. Now, as data ages out of online, it goes to archive for up to 24 months. If there were already archives that were between 25 months and 36 months old, those archives will be removed, freeing up that archive storage. So archiving, as you expand it, we keep data longer. As you contract it, we get rid of data that no longer is required by your policy. Let's talk a little bit about online. If I take my 2-month online period and I shrink it to 1 month, then what's going to happen is the next time we evaluate our online archives, we'll see that we have more data online than we need, and we will transfer that data over to the archive. So we will shrink the amount of data retained online. Let's go back where we started. Suppose I'm at 2 months online, 36 months archive, and I expand my online period. In this case, what's going to happen is I will continue to retain online data until I fill up the third month, until I fill up the fourth month. After I have 4 months online data, I will begin to move data into archives again. When the change happens from 2 to 4, the archives won't have new data added to it until you reach that 4-month period. What we will not do is automatically bring back 2 months from archive, because that data has already been archived. It can be retrieved. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes, but it doesn't automatically come back just because I say I want a longer online period. Okay? So again, minimum 1 month online, maximum 12 months, minimum 0 months archive, maximum 72 months. This gives you the capability to store up to 6 years of data. When you change the policy, if you are changing the archives, you either remove data that is no longer needed or continue to grow data until you reach the new archive period. If you change the online period, if you shrink it, you'll move data into archive the next time the batch jobs are run. If you increase the online period, you do not automatically retrieve data from the archive. We expect that most of our customers will keep a shorter period of online data. This makes the data easier to search and work with. Most people are for around the 2 to 3 months is what we usually see. But remember, less data online. Remember, as your reports run faster, your data is easier to search. We expect most people will keep longer offline periods because remember, once that archive has passed, that data is gone. It's not retrievable. We do recommend a minimum of 1 year unless your organizational standards are different. Archive data is not available for reporting and analysis. You have to retrieve it before that can happen, before you can do any reporting and analysis on it. So let's take a look at that process quickly. To retrieve data, we'll go to Targets and Retrieved Archive Data. If we wish to retrieve data, we'll click on Retrieve Data. We will select the database that we want to retrieve data for. We will say what year we want to retrieve data for. I'm going to go ahead and retrieve for 2020 the data that was archived for the months between November and December. And here you can see that making that choice means that I will bring back around 2 million rows of data. One thing I can't do is I can't bring back the same data twice. So if I were to say that instead, notice I already have data retrieved from January to February. If I were to say instead that I want to go all the way to February, when I try to submit that, I would get an error saying that records already exist. So you can only have data that's not already retrieved. Click Submit, and your job is created to go retrieve archive data. Now, this is not an instantaneous process. It takes time to do. It can take an hour, it can take an hour and a half sometimes. That's not unusual. You can check the progress of your job here on the Retrieved Archive Data screen. You'll notice that I am still in progress, and I have another job that I started earlier that is also still in progress. You can also check it by going up to the Jobs menu and searching for Retrieval. And here you will see your retrieval jobs, and you can see that I have an audit data retrieval process running, and I can just click on the word running to see the status of my job. All right. Again, to retrieve archive data, you go to Targets, Retrieved Archive Data, and click the blue Retrieve button. Tell DataSafe which database you wish to retrieve data for, how many months you want to retrieve, making sure that you haven't exceeded your 1 year of maximum retrieval time, and making sure that you're not trying to duplicate records. You can monitor your retrieval job either on the Retrieved Archive Data page or in the Jobs menu. Again, recall, data retrieval is not instantaneous. It almost always takes a little bit longer than an hour, and that you are limited to 12 months of retrieved data at any time. Now, that limitation, if you have a business need to have more than 12 months, we're here to help you. All you need to do is file a service request, and in the service request, add the subject, requesting additional archive data retrieval. We'll get that service request and we can work on expanding your limits to the amount that you need for your business use. Once your data has been retrieved, it is now online. You analyze it and report it just like any other audit data within DataSafe. When you are done, return to the Retrieved Archive page and click on Return to Archive. This will release the data back to the archives, freeing up space in your online repository. If you forget for some reason, don't worry about that. We've got you covered. After 30 days, we will automatically return the data to archive for you. That's it for audit data lifecycle management. What I hope you've seen is that managing the audit data inside your DataSafe instance is easy and intuitive. Good luck, and we hope to see you for another video soon.